When somebody is saying that it was a mistake or something, there are no mistakes when we talk about Russia. And so you cannot fall into that trap. Even talking about that shows already that we are slowly falling into that trap that Russia wants us. We believe, we hope at least, that the international rules and regulations are effective. The reality is Russia doesn't care about the international regulations, and they are violating that constantly all the time.
On September 19th, we've seen 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets entering your airspace. It came just days after this situation with drones in Poland, and also the same situation happened in Romania when a Russian drone entered its airspace. Why do you think Russia is engaging in this kind of provocations?
Well, you mentioned rightly that it is a provocation, and there are many reasons behind that. First, of course, that they want to take the opportunity to put the Western societies to doubt in the in this military assistance to Ukraine. That maybe the society starts to tremble and to say that now is the time only to focus on domestic issues and not to deal with Ukraine. So this is first. But second reason, of course, is also that they want to see what is our reaction. That are we overreacting or not? Because it's so easy to say that let's shoot them down, or let's strike back or something. But we need to keep our heads calm and cold. So this is the second reason, and of course the third reason is to get more freedom also to operate in Ukraine. So these are the main reasons behind that. And when somebody is saying that it was a mistake or something, there are no mistakes when we talk about Russia and engaging in Ukraine and also taking the focus out of Ukraine for Europeans.
Even President Trump himself has suggested that NATO should just shut down the planes. And a lot of people are actually saying that Turkey did it once, and maybe if NATO does it again, it will show Russia that maybe you don't need to violate our airspace. So do you agree with that? Was Estonia ready to shut down the planes?
First, let's clarify the Turkish incident. So Turkey shut down the Russian aircraft after that, when Russians started to bomb the Syrian villages where the ethnic Turks lived. It's a totally different situation. It basically was a war situation in Turkey at that moment, and they replied. So this is why it's not, let's say, fair comparison. Yeah. Secondly, my true belief is that we acted in the proper way, because you need to act also proportionally. It cannot be so that this is exactly what Russia wants to have, that we will overreact and then claim that NATO started the war with Russia. So this is exactly what they want. So you cannot fall into that trap. Even talking about that shows already that we are slowly falling into that trap that Russia wants us exactly to discuss about these topics, because they didn't have capabilities. So 3 MiGs against 6 NATO fighter jets, no chance. 3 MiGs are like a piece of old metal flying against F-35. So there was no chance that there was a risk to our sovereignty. So this is why you need to be proportional, and NATO showed that yes, we can act, and if necessary, we can also engage.
What also followed this airspace violation, NATO activated Article 4. Can you explain what is and why is it important? What followed after that? What was the result of the discussions?
Not only Article 4, but also we raised that topic in UN Security Council. You have different layers. First, you have the military layer. On the military level, we acted and responded very properly. The second is a track of diplomacy. And in a track of diplomacy, you need to first, Article 4 is exactly for that, to consult with your allies, to show all the details, to show also the classified data, and to show also to the world that Russia is lying once again. and the UN Council, UN Security Council, you remember what Russian representative on a very low level who came there said that they never invaded, they never violated our airspace. This is a lie. The reality was that they were lying from the very beginning, because we unclassified some of the radar data, but was exactly needed to prove to all the international community that Russia is lying yet again.
What was also a big story after the Poland incursion, we've seen that NATO used pretty expensive missiles from F-16 fighter jets to shut down Russian drones that are relatively cheap if we compare it to those missiles. And some people raised the question, is NATO really ready to counter these type of attacks? Especially the war in Ukraine showed that it's mostly a drone war right now. So do you think NATO is ready?
Again, we have to draw the line. Ukraine, unfortunately, is at war at the moment, which means that the airspace is not open for the civil aircraft. So everything what flies can be taken down. Secondly, during the peacetime, there are regulations. There is civil air transport, and the regulations are different also for using the force. Thirdly, if NATO should go to war footing, then we have all the capabilities. There is not a question about that. But during the peacetime, of course, the forces are not 24/7 in readiness. So probably the constellation of the forces will be changed in many countries, but still we need to keep in mind that it's different to be in peace or at war. And in peace, we believe, we hope at least, that the international rules and regulations are effective. The reality is Russia doesn't care about the international regulations, and they are violating that constantly all the time.
President Vladimir Zelensky suggested that Russia might be using the so-called Shadow Fleet tankers to launch drones that we see over Denmark and Norway. Do you believe that's the case?
Well, I said that already many months back, that this is one of the threats we have to consider, that when you have the Shadow Fleet circulating on the Baltic Sea, then that means that you can use that also for hybrid operations. Now the Danish and Norwegian authorities are investigating that case very seriously. But one of the options, one of the speculations is that yes, it might have come from the Shadow Fleet vessel. So this shows that how important it is to regulate and to control and to put sanctions also on the Shadow Fleet vessels, that they cannot freely operate, because there is also the UNCLOS, the UN Maritime Convention. And we see yet again that Russia is not respecting any of the international regulations. So let's wait for the investigation results, and then I hope that proper actions will be also following.
If that's the case, the Ukrainian president also suggested that the Baltic Sea should be closed for Russian vessels. Would you support that decision?
I've been supporting that all the time, but again, it's not only the question to Estonia or the European Union, it's also the decision for the Danish government, because Danish straits are the ones the Russians have to pass. And we've seen how painful it is for Russians. They even brought many military vessels to shadow this Shadow Fleet and to escort. So that shows how critical it is for Russia. So and this also brings me to the sanctions. So Shadow Fleet is just one part of that. But when we could lower globally the oil price for even $1, that would bring around 100 to plus millions less money for Russia each month. So those measures have to be taken into account, and all the stakeholders, United States, United Kingdom, European Union, we all have to put more sanctions on Russia, to squeeze their war machine to minimum.
Today we are at Warsaw Security Conference, but usually we report for you from the ground, from Ukraine. Consider joining our community today. You can go to kyivindependent.com/membership and subscribe there.